Austraeoh by Imploding Colon, read by Deathlight, Chapter 182, Barriers. Rainbow charted through the rocky corridors, her head bowed in a perpetual slump. She took deep breaths as she passed by wooden marketplaces full of pony vendors. The Sylvedonians gazed at her and murmured in hushed tones, but she didn't pay them any mind. Her breath was taking her in subterranean circles, and it wasn't enough to erase the meandering thoughts in her mind. Summer's words echoed in her ears, aching with each passing minute. There was no easy way to clear her head, no sky to fly to. Rainbow was trapped in the land that the Sylvedonian prince had always sworn to protect. Her only exit would come upon the evening hour when she made her exit, and flew straight away to the dragon matriarch, perhaps even her death. Upon passing a junction of stone corridors, Rainbow heard a familiar voice wafting out of a tiny chamber. Blinking, she paused and looked past a series of canvas curtains. The infirmary of Sylvedale lingered to her left. Slowly, she entered the place, craning her neck to hear the words that had caught her attention. "Zeta is taking good care of you?" Swirl said, then coughed and regained her breath to continue. "I know that some ponies think that the unicorn has a few screws loose, but I know that he's a true blue genius. Still have the utmost faith in him too. I am so glad that he's delivering us the key to the dragon's defeat."
"I just wish that he'd let me have a hoof in making the acid bomb,"
Lime Tech's voice exclaimed.
"I want to get back those dragons for what they did to you."
"No, Limey, all that matters is that I'm getting better. The doctors here are amazing. Besides, you and the rest of the fools around are the best medicine a man could possibly have." Rainbow passed by several hanging sheets and platforms with flickering candles. She approached a corridor of the rocky enclosure. Rose was lying on a cot of bundled of brown sheets. Squatting on the edge of the bed was Limey, who was gently nuzzling her hoof and returning her gentle smile. Several ponies Limey's age were gathered in a circle before where the injured pony was. A container was lying beside them, a gift, and it was chock full of what appeared to be equine figures carved out of salt crystals. "I don't care how tough things might get or how scary the dragons are." Swirl spoke in a calm voice while running a weak hoof through Limey's mane above his goggles. "You must never give up hope. We are strong ponies. We have a wise council and a courageous prince."
"Don't forget,"
Limey beamed, his little tail flicking.
"we've got a brave Pegasus willing to meet up with the matriarch. Isn't that cool?"
I'm not sure." Swirl's eyes darted up towards Rainbow as her lips curved more. "Maybe you should ask her." The fool's head spun, all gasped, as the prismatic outsider stepped into the side of the chamber.
"What? Do I have the pony pox?"
Rainbow mused calmly. "You'd be in the right place for it." Swirl said, then coughed. "Hey, I heard what you said to the council."
"Wait till you hear what I do to the matriarch,"
Rainbow said with a wink.
"Yeah."
Limey dropped off the bed and smiled up at Rainbow.
"Are you gonna smack your teeth in or what?"
Several fools giggled and cheered. Rainbow Dash bit her lip.
That's not exactly the point of this. You were obviously there, kiddo. You should know that all this is about getting the matriarch to talk to some pony reasonable. And that reasonable pony is a princess of Equestria." "Do you mean a real princess?"
A filly exclaimed.
"Like with pretty dresses and stuff?" "More like a total baffling who spent a millennium as dictator of the moon." "Huh?" Never mind."
Rainbow Dash shook her head.
"Long story."
"Only if Stella stood around to see it come to this," Swirls remarked in a wheezing voice. Her eyes briefly watered. "Civilians resulting to democracy."
"Hey."
Rainbow Dash leaned in and sat on the edge of the bed.
The whole point of what I'm doing tonight is to find a solution to all this 100 years of craziness that doesn't involve violence. I think Stu would dig the idea of making this kingdom into a world where ponies wouldn't have to suffer like he did.
Squirrel slowly nodded. Her eyes wandered towards the floor between her and the foals. Perhaps it's true. Maybe you can do something so miraculous. I mean, who else could? You're not from around here after all. You can fly.
Really?
Rainbow raised an eyebrow.
I thought Ember Speak was the one who could fly.
The foals around the room giggled. Squirrel smiled weakly. It has to laugh.
Then just listen.
Rainbow leaned in.
I don't believe in miracles. I believe in awesome ponies doing awesome things. You and the rest of your friends and family here, you survived the dragons burning up the world above them for over a century. That's a pretty awesome thing, and not a miracle. We got to this point by depending on each other and fighting the good fight against evil, scaled morons and the like.
But they solve all this through negotiations? Squirrels gave Rainbow Dash a painful look. It's so...
fancy?
Impossible. Squirrels remarked with an exhale. Lime Duck's ears drooped. The other foal shuffled nervously and gave Rainbow Dash solemn expressions. Rainbow Dash's eyes were searching the room, searching her mind, finding something. Smiling, she cast out the shadows of the past few hours.
Funny thing that.
What?
The impossible. I've made it happen before.
Full stirred with curious, gaping expressions. Swirl's eyes narrowed. Oh, really?
Yes. Would you like to hear about it?
Swirls merely stared at her. Rainbow gestured towards herself.
That's how I got this cutie mark after all. I grew up in Cloudsdale, a giant floating city of clouds in the middle of the kingdom of Austraeoh. A floating city?
Limey remarked.
You heard me right, a Pegasus Sky City, powered by rain, cloud vapor, and radicalness.
All the foals cooed in amazement. Rainbow Dash smirked devilishly and faced the group as a whole.
Little Pegasi aren't born with the ability to fly. We gotta teach ourselves. So, I went to a flight camp. It got boring at times, and I was a bit too cool for all the classes that they had. But that's another story altogether.
She gestured with her hooves as she spoke.
This one day, a bunch of bullies were poking fun at my friend Fluttershy. Fluttershy was really tiny, dainty filly, and it took her a long time to learn how to fly. That's kinda normal for Pegasi, but these bullies didn't care. They wanted to be cruel to a pony, and they picked her.
She leaned back and ran a hoof through her mane, her eyes dancing between the candlelight of the infirmary.
I thought it was dirty cruel, of course. She totally didn't deserve to be treated like crap. So, I stood up for her. I told the bullies to back off. But they weren't about to let a blank flank tell them what to do, no matter how awesome she was.
The foals giggled. Swirls listened intently, leaning her head aside.
So, I challenged them to a race to protect Fluttershy's honor. And I knew it was time to make them eat their words, Rainbow Dash style. The flag waved. We took off for a lengthy circuit around the southern edge of Cloudsdale. I was totally smoking them, of course. But one of them got touchy and blew me off course with his wings. He was a few neck-breaking seconds from winning. Now, there's nothing much in this world that I hate more than losing. That's true now, and it was definitely true back then. I beat my wings faster than I ever did before. Not only did I soar past him, but I broke a barrier that has never been broken before in this day and age. I produced the Sonic Rainboom.
Every foal's eyes went wide.
What's the Sonic Rainboom?
A filly exclaimed.
It's like breaking the sonic barrier, only you fly so fast that you shatter the magical ley lines fused to this world and...
Rainbow went cross-eyed in the middle of her explanation. She gazed down at the foals, only to see blank expressions facing her.
Ahem.
She smiled and made a wide circle with her hooves.
Imagine a huge splash of color exploding above you, taking up the whole sky. from the world above, with every piece of the spectrum as far as the eyes could see. Wow!
The fools chanted.
And you made that happen?
Limey remarked.
All by yourself? They said it was a legend, a myth, an old mare's tale. But I proved them wrong, and I entered the history books.
She turned and glanced at Swirls.
So you see, I can make the impossible happen, and I live to tell the tale about it. Things that appear too good to be true are simply that way because they haven't happened yet. And once they do, it only means the world can get so much better with newer and awesomer barriers to be broken.
Swirls took a deep breath, smiling gently. That's certainly an amazing tale. You must have lived an exciting life, Miss Dash.
Well...
Rainbow gazed down at her hooves, fidgeting.
There's something I tell myself each morning. I see the sun rising ahead of me in my flight.
And what's that? Rainbow Dash gazed up at her with a calm expression.
That I haven't lived yet. Not yet. That's a barrier I'm still soaring towards. I expect it to be really, really loud when I break through it.
I wish I had your strength, Swirl said.
Hey.
Rainbow patted a hoof on her forelimb.
Don't ask to be downgraded. You and your Sylvedalian buddies are way out of my league. For a while there, I worried that I wouldn't fit in with you guys.
And now? Rainbow smiled.
Well, let's just say I still hate to lose. That means you're gonna show the matriarch who's boss, right?
Limey remarked. Swirls chuckled, coughed, and smiled with a roll of her eyes.
One thing at a time, kiddo. Now.
Ruby eyes lit up as she grinned at the small crowd.
Who wants to hear how I did the impossible sonic rain boom a second time?
They all gasped and cheered for her to continue.